Incoming.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to From the Bunker, episode 2 with the Bunker Bros. Today, we have my friend David Dixon here with us, Army veteran, infantry sniper, few deployments under his belt, awesome guys living out on the East Coast. And then, of course, we have myself and the Slim Reaper here with us today. So, David, give us a little rundown on your life, maybe prior to the Army and why you joined.
All right. Well, I was born and raised in North Carolina. Pretty normal kind of middle class family, except 3 sisters. My dad was like a nurseryman. Grew trees and shrubs and roses and
Oh,
shit
cool.
like that. So I grew up, working there with him, and we both spent as much time trying to get away from all the girls as we could. So I spent a lot of time there. Didn't care for school much. I was a cut up, kind of a shithead kid, but ninja about it. So, like, my parents thought that I was like this great, sweet angel of a boy, but reality was a little different. But 9/11 happened when I was in, I think, my junior year of high school, and watched that happen in a like AP US history class of all places. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, and I'd always kind of wanted to join the military. My grandpa served, and he was a big influence on me. And my uncle, they were both career Army infantry, And so I always kind of wanted to do it, but that really solidified it for me. I wanted to go fucking now, So
Mm-hmm.
as soon as I could, I went see the recruiter and signed the paper and was on DEP until October 2003. I went to basic.
Okay.
And,
So you graduated in 03
uh-huh.
and then went soon after. What made you choose the Army over any other branch?
Well, I think a lot of that's family. I was kind of looking at the Corps.
Why did you not join the Marines is what I don't know.
Yeah. A big reason I didn't join the Corps. I mean, fucking wanted to fight dragons and all that shit too. I got
That's the best commercial.
those really cute uniforms. But I think the big thing for me was it wasn't guaranteed MOS. And I wanted to be infantry, and I didn't want to, go in there and they'd be like, oh, no, you're going intel or some other stupid shit. Because I scored pretty high on my ASVAB. I was in mid-90s or something like that. So,
Even though you were a shithead high schooler.
Yeah. I mean, I tested well, man, but you couldn't give me homework. Like, I'm not going home doing more schoolwork, when I could be cut.
It's also like, yeah, you cared. Like,
exactly.
It's something you care about. You're gonna do well. Right. They're like,
Yeah.
oh man, like you don't do well in school. I don't want to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm in school right now, doing this gunsmith and shit. But that's something I want to do, so I do well at it. But yeah, so that's what sent me that way.
Okay. Yeah. So you get in the infantry, get your guaranteed MOS. Where'd you get stationed?
So I went to Fort Lewis, Washington, of course, because I put down that I wanted to go to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And, it's, one of the whole recruiter things where it's like, hey, I want to be in the airborne. He's like, oh, well, they'll just give you that when you go to basic, and that's not how it fucking works. He just didn't want to do the paperwork, which, is fine, whatever. He's making his numbers. But they gave me Fort Lewis. I'm glad they did, because I got to kind of see something outside of, hillbilly North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And went up there and his 1st Brigade, 25th ID, 1-5 Infantry, Strikers. They'd just gotten those big green things and nobody really knew what to do with them because, they were light. And so we just kind of looked at them in the motor pool every now and then rucked 20 miles. And that's kind of how we trained for the most part until we went to like JRTC or something like that.
Yeah. Gross.
All right. Mm-hmm. Hey, we have these vehicles. Don't worry about them.
Yeah. We don't like those, But,
yeah. So 2003, you got to a unit in what, late 2003?
Yeah, so I graduated basic in January. We got 2 weeks off in between, so we kind of got the cool little Marine Corps feel there. Except, we went back to, AIT, which It's still basic really in the Army. And but I graduated in January, got there, and I was there till October, I believe, is when we deployed. October '04.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So,
got just in time for Fallujah, which was cool.
oh snap, dude! I
Yeah.
didn't you all these years I've known you. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
guess we're hit or miss, like seeing each other and talking to each other much, but
Yeah.
I was there in '05 after you guys blew it to hell.
Yeah. It was a good time. We enjoyed it.
Yeah, I got there in July,
Yeah.
so 6 months later.
Yeah. So we cut our teeth pretty much right off the bat. I think we had like 2 weeks in Taji. And then they sent us, at the time we were theater QRF. So,
Hmm.
they just kind of were like, hey, we're going to send these strikers over here. And we are like, we still don't know what to do with these fucking things.
I've literally never touched one of these in my life.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Like day 2 of Fallujah, we got them all stuck. And we didn't have trucks the whole time we were fucking
Oh
there. So,
hell yeah!
yeah. Yeah. So we pulled our assault packs off and dug some little Ranger graves and took mortars for a couple of nights. But, good times.
That
Wow.
sounds right. That sounds
Yeah.
correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what it was. So.
Damn. What? I mean, tell us about that. Whatever you're comfortable talking about.
Oh, well, I mean, for us, we were on blocking positions
Okay.
uh, for the most part, outer cordon, so letting cars and shit out. This is actually one of the funny Army stories that I have.
Hmm.
But I don't remember. I don't know. We were out there for like a week or two. We weren't really sleeping much. We were 70 to 100% watch all the time. So get a little delirious. But I remember like that first night, sitting there and I was on kind of a dike and looking out. I had maybe 30 feet in front of me. I was PFC saw gunner fuckface at the time. And after that 30 feet, it's just like a wall of reed. And
Okay.
there was a mosque not too far from there. Never heard a mosque call in my life. And that thing went off, and, the brain, starts going all kinds of places. And so in my mind's eye, I'm like, there's just going to be a wall of, AQI or whatever coming through this fucking reed line. And oh, God damn, I'm back, you know. And, but nothing happened, of course. We took some orders that night, but whatever. And, doing the whole cordon thing is pretty quiet, the occasional mortar, but we weren't sleeping. And once they shut down the blocking positions, preparing for the move, to put troops in Fallujah, because they bombed the fuck out of it for 3-4 days, whatever it was.
Okay.
And we had a first Cav command team come out, and this full bird colonel gets out of this. They were still running those. What were they? 118s, right? The tracked armor personnel carriers.
Oh,
Oh, those big black
I
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
used to.
yeah. They were still running those pieces of shit. But
Yeah, I'm
anyway,
trying.
they showed up, and he got out of that thing in his pickle suit with an MP5,
Hell
and
yeah.
just kind of walks out, in front of our positions and shit. And this whole time, I'm a kid with a saw, and I just want to shoot things with it. And we take a couple of mortars and a couple of pot shots this time, and we figured out they'd been shooting the mortars at us from like dump trucks driving down the MSR.
Oh,
Yeah, pretty smart. But anyway, a dump truck went by, and this colonel pulls up with this MP5, and this dump truck is 600 yards, something like that, and
Easy
just
shot with
starts
MP5. Easy.
spraying. Yeah, and just starts spraying with this MP5. And, we're all kind of shocked by this. And he just turns around and he's like, fucking kill everything. And I'm like, I've waited my fucking whole life to hear that shit. Just go off. I wasn't shooting it. Fuck all, really, but I was pretty excited about that. Yeah, burned up a belt and had a good time for a minute.
dude, have you ever seen Generation Kill?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he pulled up to the airstrip
Yeah.
or the where
Uh,
they're supposed to be like
Follow my
yeah.
tracers.
Yeah, that's kind of how that went. It was fucking wild.
officers,
Yeah.
bro.
Oh yeah, no, they're fun. They're fun. But after that, things kind of heated up. We were catching some pretty good little fights. About every day. So,
Hmm.
and then we moved in. We didn't do the full push in with the Marines and everything, but we cleared a couple of blocks going into Fallujah, and then we got called to pull back out and move up to Mosul. So we packed up all our shit and flew back out and got some new strikers and ran up the road.
That's
So
that's pretty wild. They sent you. I mean, I guess it's not wild thinking about how this train up went for Burke and I,
mm-hmm.
having not the proper training on our, like we're light infantry, didn't
Right.
touch vehicles until we're on the train up for a month and a half and barely even
Yeah.
got time on them.
Right.
But because I mean, strikers are a great asset.
They really are.
My guard unit switched over in California when I was there to strikers, and we had to do a whole train up for a month one summer and learn them. And
Mm-hmm.
as mortars, like what an asset, man! Like those things are
Yeah.
pretty sweet as long as you're
Yeah.
not in the mud.
Right. Right. Yeah. If you're in the mud, they're fucked. But
Yeah.
let's think we figured them out pretty quick. Once
Hmm.
we moved up north, some units, took them and turned into mechanized infantry with the things and just locked themselves in and drive around.
Okay.
Our unit didn't do it that way.
Right.
Really
Not what
easing
they're
it
meant
into
for.
an area real fast, and then they'd pull Overwatch or just roll around outside, whatever. They're
Hmm.
great for raids and that kind of thing because they're pretty quiet. You can get in somewhere without anybody knowing until you're on top of them.
Yeah. So your command knew how to doctrinally use them.
Yeah, yeah, they figured it out.
That's good.
Yeah,
That was
So
like probably the most annoying thing was I expect to deploy and like things change and they change up what you're using. Like that's normal. But
right.
like for the third or second time in a row, I guess, deploying as light infantry as not light infantry is like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's kind of annoying, but you're kind of used to it. And then
Mhm.
but when you go to JRTC beforehand and they're like, this is the train up for the deployment, and then the entire time at JRTC you're light infantry, I was like, this
Yeah,
doesn't seem right. This is not
yeah,
how we do this.
yeah. Now, big army's fucked. I mean,
Getting slaughtered in the woods by Geronimo
Yeah.
for no reason.
Was that a fucking horse?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you seriously just airdrop behind us? This is fucking Louisiana. What are you doing?
Oh yeah.
I was I did a train up. I did an XCTC up in Yakima, Washington.
Oh yeah.
And
Yakima's a good time.
yeah, I thought Fort Irwin, NTC. I'm like my hometown's 2 hours from there, so it's
Right.
whatever. But I thought that sucked, dude.
Yeah.
Yakima has the wildest weather I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life.
Oh, absolutely. That
It
place
went
is
from
fucking nuts.
I was there in June, and it went from like the most beautiful nights for like 3 nights, just perfect weather. And
Mm-hmm.
the daytime is beautiful. I'm like, man, this place is great. You're right by the river. This is cool. To all all days a dust storm,
Yeah.
and then all night was like 50-mile-per-hour winds. And I think with the wind chill, it was like 30 degrees out in June.
Yeah. It's a weird fucking place, dude. You'll see 4 seasons in a day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was wild.
Mm-hmm.
So you had the Fallujah 04 and Missoula 04. What was your next one? Was that Iraq again?
Yeah, it's Iraq again. And that was 07, 08. So I was there for the big Solder City fight in that one. So
That's the one I remember talking to you a little about that back in the day. So
yeah.
you were a sniper at this point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So
So
when I got back, I redeployed from the second deployment. That's when they reflagged us to Second Striker Cav, and they moved our entire brigade to Germany.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and before we went to Germany, I tried out for the sniper section, the battalion section, and got picked up for that, and kind of lucked my way into a team leader slot pretty much right away. I mean, I'd
Hmm.
already been, like I'd been a team leader and an acting squad leader on the line,
Okay.
before that. So I guess that kind of helped. But
Were you a sergeant already?
yeah, I was a sergeant, E5.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I got promoted just about 2 or 3 months after getting back.
Okay.
So yeah, and then we moved to Germany, and once you're over there, it's kind of hard to get a slot for school. So we just trained like a motherfucker, and we finally got us and the battalion section from two SCR got together and just kind of started rattling some cages and got Arkansas National Guard to send their MTT team out.
What's
So
that?
so it's like a mobile training team.
Okay,
So sniper school comes to you,
gotcha.
basically. hmm So there's two schoolhouses for the Army snipers. There's Arkansas National Guard and then the Benning
Hmm.
School.
Oh,
And a lot of people will say, "Oh, National Guard, it's a shit school, whatever." As somebody that worked at Benning, I can tell you that I think that there's a lot to be gained from the National Guard school because they're not rotating guys out so much. So
hmm.
the guys that are instructors there, they've been instructors for 5, 10 years, most of them.
Well, on top of that, for any of the guys who are active guard,
hmm
that's their only job.
Right?
Whereas if you're active duty, they still have all these other requirements on you.
Yeah, yeah. And you're not sitting under the nose of TRADOC too, like that. Working at the schoolhouse really solidified me getting out of the Army. I mean, that was I'm fucking done. Dealing with
Yeah.
TRADOC and seeing big Army as much as I did there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big part of me getting out. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, I got to Germany. Finally got schoolhouse came out there, and we all got our little qualification and Bravo 4 identifier, and then we deployed. I think August '07, and went to Taji, and we were in and around Baghdad um, for the first, I don't know, half, maybe a little over that. We ended up, kind of jumping cop to cop, Cop Old Mod, Callahan, um, Apache, a couple other little places right around the area there. And then, Solder City, they'd had that crazy ceasefire agreement with McTutt Al Solder and his little Mahdi militia there. Well, big Mahdi militia there. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
y'all are familiar with Solder City, but
What that isn't that where you had the Chow Hall incident?
oh, that was my first deployment. Yeah, that
Oh,
was
okay.
Merez. Yeah, that was Merez.
And
I
then,
wasn't
but
in.
Solder City's where all the engineers and like the movie American Sniper, right?
Yeah, so American Sniper. Yeah, the end of that movie, where in the dust storm and all that shit. That's Solder City.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the big battle that nobody talked about in Iraq. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if that was it's probably just politics at the time and everything else, but it was hotter than Fallujah, for an infantry standpoint, for the Army anyway. I
Mm-hmm.
know if I told the wrong Marine that, we'd probably fight, but um, it was pretty bad.
Well, was it the same situation, urban house to house as well?
Yeah, yeah, it
Okay.
was. And what made it worse is we were forced to be static.
Oh.
So, yeah, Petraeus's big idea and his idiots with him was let's put a wall up and let the Iraqi army go in there and clear it. And the Iraqi army, they weren't ready to do much of anything at that point. And I don't know, that might be by now if we would have stayed, but it didn't go very well for them. Nothing really got cleared, so we just kind of closed off the rest of solder and left it to its own devices.
Wow.
And they're dealing with the repercussions of that now. They're shooting rockets at them again. So same shit, new day.
Dang.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have a acquaintance who was an engineer putting the T walls up and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Really
yeah,
bad spot to be in.
yeah. And that was kind of our job. Us and the other snipers in the AO, we just kind of leapfrogged the wall and tried to
Mm-hmm.
cover those guys as much as we could. So, but yeah, it was pretty wild. I mean, it was a firefight for the first 3 or 4 days, and then one a day or more from then on for about a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Let me ask you a personal question about Iraq.
hmm
When you were there, like, did you think about it or ever wonder, like, what's the point here? Why are we here? Or question it? Or did you just go and not think about it? What was it like for you?
Well, I mean, I was my first deployment. I was still a pretty dumb kid.
Hmm.
I turned 21 in Iraq my first deployment,
Yeah.
and so as far as I was concerned, it was still, hey, there's fucking terrorists here. I don't care where they are. Let's kill them here. Let's kill them in Afghanistan. I didn't really give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was just then kind of starting to become political. And so that kind of muddies the water too.
Yeah.
And then, by the time I deployed there my second time, I'd started having doubts about what we were doing and what the mission was. And that's mostly just because the leadership was not, they weren't war fighters anymore.
Yeah.
And so the ROEs changed. We couldn't do what we were supposed to do. And, I cared. I was one of those people that really cared about the people there, like the civilians and shit, because,
Mm-hmm.
we were among them all the time. And, so I felt bad for them, for everything. And so I still wanted to fight there. Like if we had to fight, like if we're going to go to war with somebody, the reasons might be fucked,
Yeah.
WMDs, whatever the hell. It doesn't change the fact that we went, and if you're going to commit,
Mm-hmm.
you commit to win. And, right or wrong, I think we should have stayed in some capacity because look at what happened when we pulled out early. Look what's happening in Afghanistan right now.
I ended up there. That's what happened.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
If you think we're not going back to Afghanistan in the next 5 years, you're out of your mind. I mean, it's just the place is imploding. The same thing's going to happen there that happened in Iraq. It's happening right now. AQI
It's happening again. Yeah.
Yeah, Al Qaeda's fucking flourishing in Afghanistan.
The Iraqi government's trying to kick us out again, and like
Yeah.
my mind always keeps going back to the like the SpongeBob meme where
Mm-hmm.
like they beat up that old man. He's like, "How
Yeah.
many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?"
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, dude,
No
why do you
shit.
think you're not being overrun for
Right.
like the third time in the last
Right.
20 years?
And that's my thing. Like, if we're gonna fuck around there, we need to fucking commit. If we're not gonna fuck
Yeah.
around, we need to pull everything out.
Yep. And
Don't
not
need,
go back. Just
yeah,
let it go.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's how I feel. And one
Yeah.
one or the other. I really don't care too much which way. I mean, well, I do, but
Yeah.
I don't.
I feel the same way,
Yeah,
having it was interesting when I joined. My recruiter had just come back from the invasion of Iraq, went to recruiting school, and got to me.
yeah,
And so dude,
yeah,
I still talk to him. Awesome guy, retired as a first sergeant. Like he definitely, like we surprisingly kept in touch ever since I joined, and he's just a hard charger, man. And like,
yeah, yeah.
but I mean, he was an aggressive dude as a recruiter,
Nice.
and it was
He's
pretty
got a gun
cool.
to Eli's head. Sign the papers, bro.
I mean, he didn't
Serve your
really have
country, motherfucker.
Yeah.
he didn't have to recruit me. Like I knew what I wanted to do since I was 5. But
Being a ska
Is
I
he
baby.
mean, he
watching
was.
you? Is that why you're saying that?
Yeah.
What's that?
Is he watching you? Is that why you're saying that?
Oh
But
man.
it was just. It's interesting to have not even been a Marine yet, see him and how he was, and then like come back from deployments and see yourself like, oh,
Yeah.
I see. Like he has not decompressed yet.
Yeah. 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 And I don't think he
Yeah,
ever really
it's been
fully
22
did.
years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and yeah, depending on your experience, like Dave, you went and
Mhm.
saw this direct contact and all these things.
Yeah.
I've been 4 times. I've seen a little combat my first one, and I mean, I don't know if you want to call cluster bombs combat, but I guess it is. I mean,
I would.
I was more scared from
That's
that
terrifying. Yeah.
than when I got like pop shotted at or something. It's like
Right.
whatever, dude. I'll
Yeah.
shoot you
I'd
in the head.
rather be like in a real tick than be cluster bombed
Absolutely.
again. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I will
At
take
least
the
you know
Yeah.
what
fire.
the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we got
Well, and
rocketed pretty good one time in solder, and fuck that. I'll take a
yeah,
firefight every day over
yeah. There's like
staying.
nothing you can do about
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you can't maneuver to it. Like you
No.
can't. Yeah, it's yeah.
No.
it. Yep.
Bury your fucking head in the
Just
sand.
sit in the bunker bros, and scream, baby.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, so you so you got the real experience of early to mid GWOT,
Mm-hmm.
and then and then you come at the end here, and we're doing this Bunker Bros thing because I mean it completely changed. We were driving around early on, just like, man, I hope I don't get blown up,
Yeah.
and just kind of expecting it and waiting for it to happen, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked foot patrols more because I'm like, dude, I'd
Absolutely.
rather be on foot patrol and drive around.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I am. And, I didn't really think about that until after I got blown up. And after that, like, fuck these trucks, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be in them.
Yep.
I mean, that shit, you can't do nothing.
Now, now it's like drones and rockets,
Mm-hmm.
man. It's
Yeah,
weird.
dude. Yeah. Yeah.
So you had the two Iraq, and then your next one was Afghanistan,
Yeah. Yeah. My next
and
one was,
that's where you met Eli in
yep.
11.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
Was
what
that 11?
Yeah, it was 11. Yeah.
weren't you doing like in a training advising thing on that one?
Yeah. So that one, I was working at the schoolhouse at the time, and me and two other guys went over to Afghanistan with the new, at the time it was new, the XM 2010 sniper rifle, which was just, they took the regular M24 and finally, because the Army took the M24s in long action because they were like, hey, we're going to maybe set these up for 300 win at some point. And that was like 1989. And it took them until 2000 fucking 10 to finally do it. And so anyway, they finally did that, upgraded it, put a nicer, an actual like modern scope on it, first focal plane for once. And, this is all sniper shit or guys that shoot long range kind of understand all this stuff. I don't know how up to speed y'all are on any of it, but they gave us a much better optic, chassis to put it in, instead of a old ass H&S stock from the late 1980s, and just kind of upgraded everything. And so we took that over to hand it out, train the guys on it, and give them the more modern stuff. We had
So you fielded it,
yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah, okay, that's
mm-hmm.
sweet. That's pretty
Yeah. We
cool.
we took it on a couple of missions with what group? I think they were fifth group. We went out with them a couple of times. Got into a tick or two, but yeah.
You
That's a cool little experience thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like on your little resume for building
Yeah.
guns, dude. Like I
All
fielded a
right.
fucking sniper rifle in
Yeah.
Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny. Like there's this guy in so the gunsmithing course. There's like a pretty good mix of guys from like 20 to 60 years old. But most of us are kind of middle aged, 30 to 40. I'm 40 now as of December 19th. But this one guy that's in there is one of those kids that wish I'd have joined, didn't join kind of guys. And he's not a bad dude, but I guess he Googled me, and there's a clip somewhere on the internet of me getting doing an interview for like the Army Times about that rifle. And he came in like all fucking boner fied and hey man, I saw you on the internet. It's pretty cool, dude. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So you're famous.
Yeah, I'm famous, man.
dude,
Yep.
that's totally why I brought you on. I was like, I'm gonna Google all my friends. Oh, Dave's coming
See
on.
who pops up
Yeah,
first.
yeah, yep, yep. I did an Army Times interview once. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So there,
So you had was that the last one? Because you got
yeah,
out after that, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I redeployed like June 2011, and I ETS July 19th. So I cleared the Army like my boots hit the ground at Fort Benning, and I started clearing. So
what
yeah, I was done.
what have you been doing since that? I know when I ran into you in 2017 down in Midland, Texas.
Oh yeah, yeah, real nice place. Yeah.
But
So
what have you been doing?
so I got out, and I don't know if you remember me and one of the other guys that was there. I don't think you met him. He was down in Kandahar. But me,
Uh,
him, and that goofy ass lieutenant colonel that was
hmm
there with us.
I only knew you and Glenn.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I didn't much think you met Lauren. But anyway, me, Lauren, and that lieutenant colonel had this bright idea of getting in and starting a contract company to guard ships because at the time they were doing all the piracy shit with the shipping running through. And we didn't really do enough research to see that like that was already covered up by like big companies, And we tried to squeak our way in, and it went about as far as like making a PowerPoint and talking to a couple of people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I mean, we'll think about it," and nobody ever called back. So the amount of money I spent like trying to do that, we did one like goofy training thing with just some weirdos in Idaho, and it fell through after we did everything to get up there and set everything up. And then the SEALs were like, "Yeah, we're not coming."
Oh,
And yeah, so packed that shit up and left, and just kind of cut my losses, me and Lauren both. And I popped around a little bit, came back here to North Carolina for a couple of months just to kind of figure out what the fuck I was going to do, because here I was, like, I had it all figured out. Like, this is going to work, and, this is what I know. And I had to decide, like, to become a civilian kind of overnight.
Yeah.
Which is hard, because when you're in for 8 years, 20 years, whatever, even 4 years, and you get out, you're used to being the right uniform at the right time, and I can probably, do something. And, nobody's there to hold your hand and tell you what to do. And I was just kind of fucking around and trying to figure shit out. And my sister's boyfriend at the time was from Texas. And he's like, "Hey, man, like, you could go to Texas and work in the oil field and make some money." I was like, "Cool. Like, that's fine." And didn't know shit about the oil field. Like, Googled it, and I was like, "What is the oil field?"
Did you roughneck?
No, I didn't roughneck. So
Okay.
what had happened is I sold my truck and the motorcycle that I had at the time, bought a fucking 2001 Subaru Outback, like the Lesbo mobile,
Oh
like
yeah.
station wagon and shit, and loaded
Did
it
you
up.
stop in Colorado?
Yeah. No, I took the southern route. But I just hauled ass to Texas, and I stayed with his family for a few weeks and just trying to figure out where I needed to go, and just trying to figure shit out. And I was like, I'm not figuring anything out here. I'm just going to go on to Midland. And so I drove on out to Midland. I think I had $400 in my bank account, like at the time, like that was all that I had left. And I had like from doing MTTs at sniper school, I had a bunch of points saved up for like La Quinta Inns or something. And so, yeah, I took like whatever I had left of that, which equated to like a week in the hotel. I stayed in the hotel and I just went and knocked on oil company doors. And the first one that called me back was a service company called Schlumberger. And so they were like, "Hey, are you interested?" I was like, "Yes." And they're like, "Okay, come on down." And like, I didn't know shit. Like, I kind of knew that frack was a thing. I didn't really know what it was. And that's what they did. For the most part, that's what everybody talks about.
Yeah.
And so I went in there and interviewed and shit, and they just needed bodies. I mean, I could have been a one-legged gimp, and they probably would have taken it. But, they're happy to have somebody that could spell his name, I guess. And so I went in there and did all that shit, and they hired me pretty much right away. And I went into orientation, and I was supposed to be a frack guy. And somebody came in there and was like, "Hey, we're looking for 4 guys to come to cement." And I was like, "Cement? Like what?" Like, just thinking cement. They pour pads or something along those lines. And I was like, "I don't want any part of that. That sounds fucking stupid." And they're like, "Well, it pays more." And I was like, "All right."
Doesn't sound
I'll
stupid anymore.
Yeah, I was like, "I will do cement." And so I went into the cement department, and what they do is they basically pump the well casing. So when they drill, they put the metal casing down, and then you have to cement case that in. So you're pumping cement down to hell and back. So that's what I got into, and I did that in Texas from 2012 till, I don't know, it wasn't long after you came out there, we moved to Colorado, and I was doing the same work there until just a couple of years ago. COVID happened, and our house like doubled in value, and so we said, "Fuck it, let's sell it, and we can go do what we want to do." So we came out here, bought this little farm, and Started going to school.
Okay. So you
Yeah,
got some acreage.
I got a few. Yeah, I got like 60 acres. So
And are you
plenty.
like by your hometown?
No, I'm probably about 2 hours from where I grew up.
Okay.
Yeah, further west,
Uh,
kind of foothills.
yeah. Dude, it's crazy. Back in 17 when I went down and I saw you down there in Midland,
Mm-hmm.
I was I was doing like a 10-day job for I mean, I don't know, some guy in the fracking industry and
Yeah.
they were like working on uh, some kind of new technology to make it easier or something.
Mm-hmm.
So like we had to literally like debug their trailer out in the field because like
Mm-hmm.
they're surrounded by Halliburton.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, dude, they'll steal your information.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, like maybe this is hearsay, but maybe they'll make people disappear. I don't know. They're a big company.
Yeah, I'll be able to do all that. They will steal your shit. I mean,
Yeah.
offset man in the oil field is 10 times crazier than the army.
Yeah, and well, and people don't know this, but a lot of times when you're in like celebrity or executive protection, if you have certain information in in the business industry, you're a way
Mm-hmm.
bigger target than like a celebrity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people
Yep.
don't think about that, but there's a lot more money. There's money on the line.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, but that those people are really cool, man. It's like one of the nicest people ever. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna grill some steaks out here by the rig
Yeah. Yeah.
and hook you up. You know, it's a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I enjoyed the oil field. It was good money. It's just it was a lot of work. I mean, it was on call 24/7. You know, I had Sarah at the time. When I first went down there, I lived in a fucking 1992 Winnebago for like the first few years I was there.
Damn.
And so Sarah moved down and made a like human out of me.
Uh huh.
But yeah, yeah, it's a wild place, man. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's we got a buddy we deployed with, Burke and I, and he's out there roughnecking and stuff. He's
Yeah,
like, you'd never make it on the rig.
yeah,
Yeah, we were gonna make a shirt out of that, and on the
yeah,
back it just say "You'd never make it on the rig."
yeah. No, you should. Don't let him fool you. It's not that hard.
he's he's a hard dude for sure. He's in
Yeah.
like he works in one of the Dakotas or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
he just but oh my god,
That's a
just
miserable place to be in the oil
you
field.
know who we're talking about, and if you listen to this, yeah, you're a hard motherfucker, but dude, I would make it on the rig, bro.
I'm gonna send him the link when we post this.
I don't think he has a Spotify or an Apple podcast. Probably
I
doesn't
don't
have. He might
I
have
don't know what
YouTube.
that shit is.
Yeah. 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 That's funny.
Dude, so you're doing gunsmithing. Is that
Yeah.
something like you recently got interested in, or something you've always been interested in,
It
or
was something I've always been interested in. So when I was actually here, right after getting out of the army, I looked into going to the school. So gunsmithing, a lot of schools offer. There's only a handful of them that are really recognized that are like the top few schools. There's
okay,
one here in Troy, and then there's one in Trinidad, Colorado, and the other one I think is in Oklahoma. Um,
hmm
but I looked into it, and back then they had like a 2 year wait list, and I was like, I can't fucking wait 2 years. So I kind of put that away, and was like, well, I'll just do what I have to do, and maybe one day I'll be able to do what I want to do. And so I just kind of sucked it up, and like I said, sold my shit, bought the Lesbo bill, and moved to Texas.
What are you able to use GI Bill for this course?
Yeah, I am. So my super cool post 9/11, is still valid. The Montgomery expired after 5 years because reasons, and so I'm just using that.
I, dude, baller move. I don't know if people who are in now can do it,
Mm-hmm.
but from back in our day, back in my day,
Yeah, right.
we had the Montgomery GI Bill.
Yeah.
So I used 3 years of that, but I
Mm-hmm.
had an additional year I could use post 9/11. So like
Yeah.
my bachelor's degree was taken care of. That was nice.
Oh yeah, man.
You get 36 months of benefits. At least when I went to the career counselor course, like you get 36 months of federal benefits, and that's it. So as long as it's a federal benefit, you can double dip because like our state has MingStap, like the Michigan tuition assistance thing. So like you could do MingStap and federal, but you can only do one federal.
Yeah.
And you get 36 months. So
yeah, no, it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if I probably just wasn't paying attention because I typically didn't when people were talking to me about that kind of shit. But like the Montgomery,
well, you didn't care. Like
yeah, right,
now
yeah,
you can. Now you care.
yeah, right. And so like when I went to sign up for this shit and I was doing the paperwork and everything, I was like, I want to use my Montgomery so I can say post 9/11. And they were like, "Bitch, you're old as fuck. Like you got that shit's gone, son." I was like, "But I paid for it, my $120 a month for a year or whatever the fuck it was."
Oh yeah, we had to pay for that. These new guys don't have to,
Yeah, yeah. They took like what $120 a check. You know, when I was making $350 a month.
Yeah, I was about to say that's like half our pay.
Hell yeah, man! Like I was having to buy the cheap cigarettes.
Yeah.
What is this, 1940? What are you talking about?
Yeah, something like that.
You got the chow.
Coke was a nickel.
Yeah. Hey man, when I got to Fort Lewis and cigarettes were $5 a pack, I about threw a hissy fit. That's no shit.
I remember random comment, but speaking about prices, I remember.
Here we go.
See what we fucking did? Gas was 25 cents a gallon.
Yeah, this is a gas comment. Dude, it was literally. I remember driving from Southern California up to the Sierras, which is a pretty remote area in like Central California, beautiful. But I remember seeing gas and it was 99 cents. And I was like, geez, that's expensive. And then like 8 years later, I'm in high school getting gas for like, oh, it's $1.99. That's a good deal.
Yep.
And then now you're like, oh, I found it for $3. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Thanks, Obama.
I gotta steer us away from this fucking.
Yeah. This is American 19.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's why Burke said our team. We had to have a young guy, Matt.
Yeah.
Somebody that can like keep the geriatrics off of the I used to pay a nickel for gas comments.
Absolutely need that. Absolutely.
But anyway, so 3 deployments, your civilian life's going good. You missed the money from the oil fields, but we get it. But now you're doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
So give us, besides pickle-suited officers shooting with an MP5 at a mortar team, can you give us the funniest moment that stands out to you in your military career?
God damn. That's hard to put a finger on the funniest.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. I mean, there was so much shit. I mean, probably the most debauched thing we would do. It's pretty funny too, though. Okay, so we would go. This is before we all turned 21. We're at Fort Lewis. Dumbass Joe, as y'all know what that's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, at the time, it wasn't. You weren't supposed to drink in the barracks. Nobody gave a fuck. You could, but like we wanted to be grown-ups and leave the barracks and go drink, in public somewhere. And so there's this little shitty motel in Tacoma that we found. I don't know how we found it, but a group of us started going to this motel like on the weekend. And this is like an old school, like drive-in motel, that kind of thing, where it's just one level, the doors are outside.
Yeah.
And so we'd go in here and get a bunch of beer and liquor or whatever and just rent a room and just drink. And
Dave, is this going to turn into a horror movie or something?
No, so so kind of.
Yeah, I saw this. Ray Liotta and John.
It's my own. So it was like the first time we went, everything was cool. We had a great time. Like we ended up going into like the manager's office and drinking with that guy. And he was older, like he was sitting there watching like a porn videotape. Like
this is totally movie, dude.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So and he's like, feeding us this line of bullshit that he's like a CIA fucking head shrinker or interrogator and all this shit. And he's like picking us apart. And I was just like, this guy's fucking dumb. But I mean, he's giving us booze, so whatever.
Watching
And
porn on
yeah,
VHS with him. It's pretty
yeah,
sweet.
right. So just had a great fucking time, whatever. And left the next day, went back to Lewis. And then like the following paycheck or whatever, we went back there and got our room for $30 a night. And the next time we went, it wasn't as much fun. One of the guys ended up like finding cocaine from some dude and did a bunch of coke, and so we were like trying to control him and shit and whatever. And we're like rinse and repeat. The third time we go back there, and the third time we went, shit got really real. And one of the guys was like a basic training buddy. He was in one of the other battalions, and he ended up like we lost him. Like he left the room and he'd been gone for like an hour before any of us noticed, like, hey, where the fuck is Emogan? I don't fucking know. Like Vagabond's got him now. That was the name of the motel. The fucking
Figures.
The Vagabond Motor Inn. And and so like walk out the door and we're like looking for him and we don't see him anywhere. And a few doors down, there's a door that's wide open. And so I just like walk that way with my buddy Doc and walk by the door and look in there. And he's like in the back of the room sitting in a chair. And he's clearly like fucked up. Like we don't know what the fuck. And there's a great big black woman in there and a little skinny black woman in there with like pennies tied into her hair. And then another woman, maybe a man, we still don't really know. Whoa. And she was apparently it was the pimp for the other two, and also a drug dealer, and had given Emogan heroin.
Oh my
nice.
God!
So,
go big or go home.
Yeah, right.
Go hard.
Sitting in this fucking chair back there, shot up with these two prostitutes and
Jesus.
their drug dealer, pimp, whatever. And so we're trying to get him out. And so they're like, well, he's got to pay us for the drugs. And it's $150. And they're trying to just, get money out of us, dumbass kids. And, we're pretty fresh out of basics. So we're like, oh, we know how to shrimp to the guard. Like, we can totally take them, But if this escalates. And, but anyway, this thing is like yelling at us and shit. Like, you got to give me my fucking money or you ain't getting your friend. And we're like, well, I mean, we don't really have any money. Like, I think we told her we could scrounge up like $50 or something like that. And it escalates. Like, Doc and this person are like screaming at each other. And it pushes Doc back and like flashes a gun. And I was like, oh, fuck. This is about to get fucking stupid. Wow. And so, like, I reach in my pocket, and I didn't have, like, a regular pocket knife. I had a Leatherman, of course. So I'm, like, trying to finger fuck this blade out of the Leatherman, like, in my pocket.
Oh, my God.
And, like, trying to be like, I'm not doing anything. Like, what am I going to do with this fucking knife if this bitch pulls his gun? I guess I'm just going to have to, like, grab her with the pliers of my Leatherman or something. And, but anyway... It actually de-escalated somehow. I don't fucking know because, I mean, we're all like half black out too. And
they're on heroin. They should be chill as fuck.
Yeah, right. And
I'm not.
Yeah, but anyway, we get Emogan back, and we're like, maybe we should probably leave. And we're just like starting to kind of scrounge our shit together, trying to sober up enough to be able to drive back to the post. And the two prostitutes come and knock on the door, and Doc opens the door, and they come in, and then they're trying to get like us to have a time. And like after all that shit, you're gonna come down here and be like, hey, let's party, And Doc, being the belligerent that he was, was like, hey, this could turn around. Like, we could be all right. Let's just stay. And so they start, like, dancing and shit and all this craziness. And I'm just like, I don't have a car. Doc is my life. And so I just had to stay. Luckily, shit didn't get out of control. And no, I did not have sex with those women. And that's God's honest truth, not just a Bill
Yeah,
Clinton
it was a
plug.
third one you were with.
Yeah,
Does Burke even know where that comment comes from, or is he too young?
yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Bill Clinton?
Mm-hmm.
He
But
doesn't know.
yeah. So we shut it down and left the next morning, like smart people.
Did you never go back after that?
No, I never went back. I think
That
Doc and a couple other guys went back and had a
That's
very
smart.
similar experience. Yeah.
no, dude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Vagabond Motor Inn.
Yeah,
I will
man.
never forget this now.
Yeah. No, it got shut down not too long after that.
Crazy.
For all
That's
the drugs
insane.
and prostitutes thing. Yeah, if you can
Yeah,
believe it.
the living prostitute heroin drug dealers. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, real nice
Wow.
place. Real nice place. Highly recommend. Five
Yeah.
stars, two
Well,
thumbs.
this podcast escalated quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
So
so we are coming up on that time, and we do have one more question.
okay.
So it's and I want to do it this way because we did get it this way with the nasty guard guys, and I think it's good because it gives variety and people
Mhm.
can pick what they want. So you got to give 3 rules or 3 pieces of advice to junior NCOs, people getting into the military, people getting out, that is going to help them in the military career or in life in general. And not a big deal if you can't do 3. Like we did 3, but so it's like 3 pieces of advice that you think would help like a aspiring NCO or aspiring officer, especially if it's an officer. Jesus,
Yeah, right. They need it. They need all that.
he needs it.
Yeah. Okay, so starting out for the three that are for people that are in, um, let's see.
Oh, you don't got to do all of them. You don't need like individual people in
Well,
the
yeah,
No,
no,
he
military.
said.
I just want three. Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. I said it funny, but 3 pieces of advice. I think one of the biggest ones is you got to work for what you want, and if you want to be a sniper, you just want to stay on the line and move up. You want to go to selection. You want to do whatever you want to do. If people are telling you not to do that because it's I don't know if y'all have dealt with it, but sometimes your leadership will get
Oh
upset at
yeah.
you for leaving them, and
Yep.
you can't let them trap you that way because they're going to be gone at some point. I mean, that's the way it works. You have to
Mm,
remember, when you're young too, and this is another one of them old man things. But when you're young, a year feels like forever, and it's not, dude. I mean, it's just you've got to figure that out. The earlier you figure that out, the better. And if you want to do things, do them. I mean, you're not guaranteed what's going to happen 2 years, down the road. So that's one. Another one, if you're in a leadership role, be that leader, but at the same time, you can learn a lot from the guys above you and the guys below you. So this is mostly a plug for that LT. If you're out there, yeah, you might be Ranger qualified, but that really doesn't mean much. I mean, a fucking E4 knows that stuff, without going to Ranger school. They might not know how to be tired, but, they know how to do all that other shit. And so swallow your pride a little bit and listen to your dudes. And that goes for, NCOs as well. You got to listen to your dudes and do what's best for them. Also, when shit rolls down, don't let it roll past you. That's another big one. Saw a lot of that, and that becomes toxic very quickly and will
mm-hmm.
completely ruin a unit. So, and I had good leaders in that way when I was lower enlisted, and that kind of went away later, and I saw how much difference that makes. So, when shit rolls, you hold it. Don't pass it down. That it? That 3?
Yeah, those 3. Unless you got something else, throw it out there, man.
Um,
What about when you get out?
Man, when you get out, be a civilian. Like, figure that out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, stop wearing grunt style. God damn it.
Yeah, fuck, dude. Like the fucking. No,
Guess we
dude. I
can't
will
be
tell you
friends with
right now.
them now. Thanks,
Yeah,
Bert.
I am probably the most anti-veteran that I've ever met. Like, I fucking I love you guys. Whatever. I love veterans. Hello, but at the same time, I fucking hate them. Like, if one more motherfucker comes up to me and is like, "Hey, you were in? Oh, brother, what's your disability rating, brother? Fuck off." Like, every some bitch you meet when you get out has 100% disability because they had a hangnail in fucking 2010. They were in the army for fucking 4 years or whatever the fuck, you know? Like, fuck off, man. We are not the same person. And, you know, don't be
so
that fucking guy. Please
so
listen to me. Don't
so
be that guy.
Dave, what Dave's telling us is he's gonna come on the podcast and never buy any of our stuff.
No, dude, I'll buy Bunker Bros shit. Like,
No, it's okay. We'll send you some stuff then you have to wear because we're
yeah, all right,
friends, so it's
all right.
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. Don't get me wrong, man. I love veterans, and what I like to see is veterans fucking doing shit. You know, like most of them just want to sit back and be like, "Oh, woe is me, I'm broke," because everybody tells them they have to be broken. Like,
Hmm.
PTSD should not be a disability; it should be a fucking strength.
Yeah.
Like, guys fall into that. It's really easy to do, to want to be a victim because it's easier. That's what everybody expects of you, but
Yeah.
don't fucking do it. Like, and just buckle down, find something to do, and do that shit. Like, even
I-
if it's not what you want to do, like what I did with the oil field, just go, man. Just get busy, do something.
I'm really glad that you brought up that because I think our society in the United States is becoming a victim mentality because we have it so
Oh,
easy.
absolutely, dude.
And
Yeah, that's fine.
us, all right, so Dave was talking about, victim kind of mentality or like chasing a disability rating and all this kind of thing in the veteran community. And I think that just stems from our society in the United States as a whole, is we're very comfortable and everyone's pushed. Not everyone. There's this big movement in the country of victimhood, which is not healthy for anyone. Um, this. I think the most important people in the history of mankind in the United States have faced adversity as a child and or young man or woman, overcame that, and said, "I will not be a victim of this." And MLK, Albert Einstein, like, I mean, you could go down a huge list of people who faced enormous challenges and move past that. And I think that's really unbecoming of a veteran, especially considering what we've been taught to overcome. Whether you're an admin clerk or anything, everyone's gone through basic training, boot camp, whatever your branch calls it, and you've been taught to face challenges and overcome them. That doesn't mean that disability ratings aren't important and aren't deserved, but when you're milking it and you've got people who face some serious things and served for many years, that's just, I don't think that's right. And then just playing a victim, like, please don't shoot fireworks in my neighborhood. Like, if it's 4th of July and you know that bothers you, like, go somewhere in the middle of nowhere for the.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's different. I was like teetering there, and then yeah, that yeah. So like I I think there's a fine line because I don't want like our dudes to not go get help because they feel like they have to be tough. Like I want them to feel like if you're struggling, I want you to be able to be like, "Hey man, like I am not having a good time. This is too much for me and I feel comfortable coming to talk to you about it." Like I want my dudes to do that. And I don't want them to feel like getting help is the wrong answer or being weak. Uh, but at the same time, like I think you are right. I think there's a lot of people out there, and like we had some guys in my first deployment. Like one platoon went to Iraq, and like the rest of the platoons went to like they were OSS, right? Spartan Shield. So they did like Dubai, Kuwait, Jordan, and without naming names or getting too into it, like there's some people in those countries who like were claiming like PTSD and like nothing happened there. Like literally. So I don't it doesn't make any sense. Like people like that, yes, I think they should be one, kicked out of the army, two, should get receive no benefits. Like, you don't deserve the benefits. But yeah, I just want to be clear. I think that our men should receive the help that they need if they need it.
Yeah, I think be a man or woman of action, go take care of what you need to take care of, and don't be a victim. It's like, I faced this. It is challenging, and the dude, it's a weird thing. My fourth deployment, I've had probably more challenges coming home from this one, even though I've done it several times.
No, you got like 85 kids and you're like 80 years older.
Oh boy.
I mean, I don't want to take away from anybody either. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'll call you a pussy to your face if I think you are. I mean, it doesn't really mean I'm right. And, one guy, might hear a mortar, on the other side of the fob, and that fuck him up for life. I mean, right or wrong, whatever. But, like I said, you've got to find whatever outlet you need. And if that means going to see somebody or talk to somebody, go do it. If it means, go to church, fuck, try anything, whatever it is, but get busy. I mean, that's the one thing I've seen more than anything else is guys get into a hole when they get back. And I've had a lot of buddies fucking commit suicide over the years, way more than, friends that were killed in combat. And, just get fucking busy. Every last one of those guys. Yeah. Every last one of those guys was sitting on their ass in their hometown, just feeling sorry for themselves, because they weren't the cool guy anymore. And, sooner or later they ate a bullet, or whatever it was. And that's the wrong fucking answer. Get a job, man. Be a contributing member of society. There are so many people out there looking to hire veterans because they know we're workers. You've got so many tools in your toolbox that these kids in college or kids coming out of high school don't have. I'm seeing like these COVID kids now. Like I knew that kids were going to be fucked up, but like seeing them in school, like the year below us coming up in the gunsmithing program, these kids, they can't do anything. It's fucking nuts. And you guys coming out of the military are gonna be killing it. I mean, just killing it. Just because of those little tools that you have, you know how to suck and you know how to work. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, fill your time.
Yeah. Be a man of action. Be a man or woman of action. Do the right thing, and the rest follows suit.
That was my one of my rules. It was learn how to suffer and just be comfortable with it, because that will get you so fucking far.
absolutely, dude. Yeah, just deal with it. Don't bitch about it. Just deal with it.
Yeah. I would say, for sure, being guard's different. Like, so on our end, I've been active duty, I've been guard. Being guard is an animal. It's a challenge to turn that, especially your combat arms or whatever, and you like, let me turn this on for a weekend and then turn it back off. It's real. It can be very challenging. But for me, definitely faith in motorcycles, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's me. I mean, it's been faith to an extent. I mean, faith has always been a thing. I'm trying to get better at that here the last couple of years. I've always been a Christian, haven't always been a very good one, and haven't, but I think you need something like that, some kind of faith, and something higher, to kind of keep your center somehow, especially if you're single, like I was when I came out, because I didn't have anybody, to take care of except for myself. And I really didn't care that much, to be honest.
You made it on the rigs, bro.
I lived in a Winnebago for 3-4 years, and I was totally fine with doing that for the rest of my life.
I think some lessons we can learn closing out this podcast is like, when you get out, or if you're part time like Burke and I, keep moving forward. Don't accept defeat. Don't be a victim. If you got to live in a Winnebago, so be it. See it through, and find a purpose, and things will work out. Like, you're doing well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 40 years old, and I feel like life's coming together. I mean, I'm married now. I got this new kid. Doing what I've always wanted to do to some extent. It might take a while to get there, but man, it's a ride. I mean, I've had a great fucking time doing all the things that I've done. Like I said, living in Texas, living in Colorado, it's afforded me a lot. And riding motorcycles, shooting guns. I mean, just all kinds of wild shit that I've gotten into over the years. So.
Wrapping it up here for our listeners, just don't forget bunker-bros.com. Check out the website and the shop. We've got patches, we've got stickers, we've got hoodies, we've got shirts, we got beanies now. And we're usually dropping some new merch about once a month, if not more. So make sure you check that out. Follow us on at the Real Bunker Bros on Instagram, YouTube, which maybe you're watching us on there.
Twitch at the Real Bunker Bros. We're going to start doing some streams here pretty soon, and one of our goals is to build a Bunker Bros gaming team, kind of reach out to the younger veterans who are really into gaming, like me, I guess. But you'll catch us on Twitch here pretty soon, and yeah, Facebook Bunker Bros.
All right. Thanks for listening. Make sure you catch us next time for episode 3.
And thank you to David Dixon for hanging out.
My pleasure, guys.
Incoming, incoming, incoming.